Guys, we did actually go back-to-back World Series if you look at how Fanatics treated the Dodgers, the signature shirts.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but Austin Hedges, John Gray, and Ezekiel Duran and Aroldis Chapman, either someone did all of their signatures,
Really?
or these guys are still rocking the ones that when they learn how to do cursive.
Josh Young, that was the first one I saw, because when I saw that it said with Texas Rangers signatures, the first time I saw this shirt, I was like, that is definitely Josh Young's signature sticking out with those big old J's.
Yep, I mean, and Corey Seagers is playing this day. How does this happen? How does Fanatics, I mean, after a whole year of them taking it in the teeth from the fans about how all that was bungled, and then this, I mean, I appreciate, do we get another banner? Is there a parade? What happens? Welcome again to the, I guess, first official, since our introduction one is like the pilot, so it's not episode 001. This is episode .001. We are the Ranger Zone.
The Ranger Zone.
3 clinically obsessed Texas Rangers fanatics, semi-qualified to dish out takes like hot cakes from the front office to the fans. Y'all doing good?
Yeah, I'm ready to break down some free agency.
Yeah, absolutely. This
Talk about
episode
some
we are
hitters.
going to be free agency and state of hitting, particularly for this team and what we've got going on. I'm going to kick it over to you, Tony. So hit the good folks with it.
So the MVP conversation is pretty boring. The two big boppers in each league, and it's not really up for debate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say boring. I mean, they both had monster seasons, but yes, it's terrible that we're not going to get a race.
When you got
At
two
the
front
end.
runners,
It was decided in early August? Like, we knew.
But it's also like, okay, those are the two best hitters in the game. No doubt,
undisputed.
So I guess I'm going to start in the American League, and with Bobby Witt Jr., because I cannot say enough about that dude in the season that he had. And
so fun to watch.
so fun to watch, electric to watch. It's just, you just feel that old school vibe, and I guess he gets that from Pops, you know. I'm one of those people that feels like in order for baseball to regain some prominence as far as ratings, and just, we got to get these hitters hitting more often instead of just big hits in big situations. Just got to be more consistent, and Bobby Witt Jr. Epitomizes that. He's a
30-30, is that what I'm seeing here?
It looks like he was 40-30, my boy.
Oh, is that 40 doubles, 30 home runs?
Mm-hmm.
Or we're like 30
and
steals?
30-30 steals. Yes. 40-30-30.
It's crazy that we're saying this isn't a race and that Bobby Witt Jr. wasn't really in the conversation for the AL MVP, because any other year where you don't have Aaron Judge having a Barry Bonzian-like season, it's a slam dunk for Bobby.
A 9-4 WAR.
This is insane. This is like prime Mike Trout.
Led the league in batting average, led the league in hits.
And he's a shortstop.
And 211 hits with 32 homers, 109 RBI, 45 double. Those are MVP numbers, and you got to give that dude his flowers for that, man. The stat that really separates him this year from the other guys in contention, to me, is stolen bases. That dude can run as well. He's truly advancing his team's effort from the most areas. He's affecting the game from the most areas of these guys.
This is the kind of player I want to see in MLB, where when you put the ball in play, when you're stealing second, these are the exciting things outside of hitting home runs. There is more to baseball than hitting home runs.
It's
There's
not
more
all or
exciting
nothing.
parts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it several times in the Globe when they hit a triple off the wall, off the bullpen out there.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That little
right
diagonal.
center. Yes.
Yeah.
It ricochets off that wall. You're getting to third, man. Like, that's exciting.
So let's take it on over to the American League. We were just there. We're going to take it on over to the National League now.
Looks like we can start with Ketel Marte, who we are obviously, as Rangers fans, familiar with from the World Series last year.
And his Seattle days back in the day. He's just been a menace.
Another player that's fun to watch, fun to play with in the show as well.
Nice to see him as a finalist. Been a very consistent player for years now.
Yeah, he really has.
We obviously know who's going to win this award. Rightfully so, will be the first DH to win the award. Nobody's done 50-50 before. It feels like the natural second place, though, would be Lindor.
Yeah.
With the season he had, they do the voting for these awards on the last day of the season. So if you think about where the Mets were on the last day of the season compared to where they were in the middle of May, that comeback they had, preventing the Diamondbacks from making the playoffs there at the very, very end of the season.
Absolutely deserves it because he was left off of the All-Star roster this year, and he was not named a Gold Glove finalist, which
always seems...
Oh, yeah. What? The fans, and rightfully so, were up in arms.
I mean, you could argue that's the best glove for an infielder in baseball.
So here's my take on the Gold Glove is there's just offensive weight put into it for some reason because the winner in 2008 for the American League at shortstop for Gold Glove was Michael Young. Michael Young was never the best defensive metric out there. He was solid, don't get me wrong. And I believe he did have a positive defensive WAR that season.
I wonder if everyone was just kind of like middling that year and they were like, yeah, let's give it to the old guy. So, Lindor, we're looking at a 7 even on his WAR. 169 hits, that's more than serviceable. 39 doubles. I mean, you get 40 doubles here. You're raking pretty much.
Oh yeah.
33 homers as well. Like
as a shortstop,
and you can't control RBIs. That Mets offense struggled early on in that season. He's only got 91 there. But he also bats at the top of that lineup. So you're missing a lot of opportunities.
He's not cleaning up there.
Okay, are you ready for unnamed trivia segment?
Oh, bring it on. All right, so we're talking World Series MVP, regular season, just Rangers.
This is just regular season. Okay. There's obviously we got some Rangers in there.
Okay.
All this MVP talk, guys. Only 2 teams have had an MVP at every position. This is regular season MVP. Just name one of the teams.
Yankees.
This requires the team to have at least won 9 MVPs in their existence, then, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is both leagues.
Yes. Either league.
All right. So we're taking...
There's one in each league. I'll give you that. So he already got you one. So if you want to guess the other... try to guess the other one.
That mine was easy.
I feel like the other one has to be easy potentially, too. Is it the Dodgers?
No.
Okay, it's not the Dodgers.
St. Louis?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's not what I was gonna guess.
Tony with them both.
Oh, I would have guessed the Reds. I don't know anything about this sport.
Whatever, Mr. I named the starting pitchers for the last decade and a half.
I would not have gotten Kyle Gibson had you not given me a hint, man.
They also have the most MVPs, respectively. Yankees with 23, Cardinals with 21.
21 for the Redbirds. All right.
Yeah. Christopher has 0. Tony, 2 on the board. The Rangers have not had one in every position.
No,
unfortunately. But we have had 6. Name them. Wait. And if you can name the year, you get an extra point.
Do I take the easy one off the board first? Do I take the hard one off the board first here? Because I'm going to get them all. So how do you want to do this, Tony?
Leave me the easy one.
All right, I'll take the hard one off the board for you.
Okay. Remember, you can get bonus points if you get the year as well, which I'm sure Christopher knows, so you better know, Tony.
Here's the hard one, Tony. 2010, Josh Hamilton.
Yeah, that is one. So that's 2 points for Christopher.
It was not the hard one.
2023 Corey Seager.
He did not win MVP this year. No, remember, he got snubbed.
Second place.
Yeah, he got second place.
Oh, that makes sense. We know who was in the AL last year. I'm a dummy.
Corey was snubbed because his injury when he missed time and still put up the season he did with that time. Ridiculous. He's at 100% should have won MVP and would have won World Series MVP. Christopher, who's your next one?
All right, so
put him in a body bag.
Okay, fine. Juan Gonzalez, 1996.
That's 2 points. Tone Balone?
Pudge Gonzalez, 1995.
Pudge Gonzalez does not play for the Rangers.
You know him. You just said Pudge.
I know what you meant. Wait, which year did you say?
I said 95. Is that not right?
I will give you Pudge. So you got the point for Pudge.
Okay.
Yeah, but you did not get the year. He won it in 99. All right, Christopher, it is back to you. There are, let's see, 1, 2, 3. There are 3 left.
Juan Gonzalez, 1998.
Yep, that is the other Juan Gonzalez one.
Double up on me. Huh?
I thought you were going to do the Juan Gonzalez, Tone.
Did you say Gonzalez won in 97 as well?
In 6.
6? So we went 3 for 4?
We went 3 for 4.
Yeah, 3 for 4. Tony, 2 guys left. You want a hint for one of them? Mm-hmm. This dude has made I'm pretty sure has made the most money, has had the largest contract we've ever given to a player ever, right? Am I correct?
That's correct.
The largest we've ever given.
The contract we gave him, I still think is like top 5.
Seager beat his contract.
Who is it? The second highest paid guy we've ever
Alex
paid.
Rodriguez.
That's right.
2002.
Oh, man, you were so close. 2003.
Ah.
And then we traded him in the offseason.
Yeah. You got the last one. Can you get it, Christopher?
Can I get it?
Yeah, I bet you do. I'm sure
Jeff Burrows, 1974.
Yep, you got it. Ding, ding, ding. All right, last question. Each of these is worth 3 points. Who are the 3 teams without an MVP winner? Tony, we'll let you go first. Would you like a hint?
Yeah.
The Rangers have played 2 of these teams in postseason rounds.
Tampa.
That absolutely is one of them, Tone. That's 3 points, bud. All right, Chris. 2 teams left. There are 2 teams left that have never produced an MVP
And we played
winner.
them in the playoffs?
We have played one of these teams in a postseason round before, yes.
You mean to tell me the Toronto Blue Jays have never had an MVP?
Nope, they are not on this list, my friend.
Joe Carter probably won for them.
No, Josh Donaldson did.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. And that was recent. So if it's not Toronto and it's not Tampa Bay,
right.
Of the 4 possible postseason series that you can play, from the World Series all the way down to the wild card game, we have played one of these teams. And the other remaining team, they're both in the same league.
Cleveland.
That is not one of them, Tony. I believe you are incorrect. Christopher, it is back to you, my friend.
All right. Hold on. So we played the Rays. We played the Tigers. The Tigers have an MVP. We have played the Yankees. The Yankees have had an MVP. We have played the Baltimore Orioles twice in the playoffs, and they have had MVPs because I believe Brooks Robinson's won the MVP, and if not, that's a travesty. So the Astros have an MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the Diamondbacks?
It's the Diamondbacks.
That's crazy to me. So
they do not.
you mean
have
Randy
one.
Johnson
That's
can
why
win
you
the Cy Young
specified
4?
in your guess. Okay.
He do 4 years in a row winning the Cy Young, and they can't give him the MVP one of those times. That's insane.
That's nuts. Yeah.
All right, there is one other team.
Wow. Okay, this is the other team. I think I know the other team.
Well, you guys can tie.
No. Oh.
Yeah, you guys can tie. So, Tony, there's only one other team. Remember I said that the last remaining team was in the same league. The fans at home are rooting for you hard.
I can't think of one. I want to say the Brewers, but I know that Braun got one.
I think Robin Yount got one too.
I'm gonna lose.
You're guessing. If you don't guess it, I'm only giving you each one more guess.
That's fair. My logic behind thinking it is this team is because this team just had someone take over their franchise leader in home runs, and it was a shockingly low number. Is it the San Diego Padres?
It is not.
Oh, okay. Oh, I wonder who won MVP for. Oh, they had freaking Tony
Gwynn.
Tony Gwynn. Yeah. What am I talking about? He had to have won an MVP.
Tony, I'll give you a final hint for this one. This last team has someone in the finalists for this year's National League MVP. He is a finalist, and the team he plays for
No way.
has never won one, and they will not win one this year.
No way.
The Mets?
The Mets, baby.
Really?
The Mets.
That is the most Mets thing ever.
What?
The Mets. Why don't you come on up and greet the Mets?
Oh, my God.
You know the Mets are really knocking the ball,
Keith
hitting those
Hernandez,
home runs
Gary
over
Carter,
the wall.
Daryl Strawberry.
Yeah, Strawberry.
No MVPs.
Side,
This feels like a travesty for this
Who was the
franchise.
pitcher?
To meet
Doug Gooden. Doug Gooden, Nolan Ryan. Oh, he wasn't a great player. What is wrong with that franchise?
Really?
Yeah, that is it, guys. So, tie game. Look at that,
Hey,
guys.
we did
All right.
not script this, I swear.
Unlike baseball, this one ends in a tie, guys.
Everybody goes home pissed off.
We're getting into the real thing here. The state of our Rangers offseason, some free agency. This is particularly on the hitting side. We want to talk about all of it. But first, our free agency news. We'll just do a quick rundown of where this team is at financially and some departures and some transactions we've already made. So right now, our current salary, I believe, is still around 139, 140 million with all of our arbitration players. Once they get signed to their deals, we should be at about $180 million. The tax threshold, if you guys have not already been learning and haven't been beaten into your head yet, the tax threshold, Ray Davis has made it very clear that we are going to be under this number this year. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't know if I feel one way or the other about it. I mean, I get it.
understand the
He's got the money, but he wants the reset.
Yes.
He wants it to reset.
The reset's the important thing.
That threshold money is at $241 million, and you say, man, that's $180 million is what we'll have after ARB, and then we have to be under $240. That's so much money. There is a pre-arbitration bonus pool that every team gives into, and the cut this year is just under 20 million. So we'll call it 20. So instead of the 241 million, we got to account for that 20 million on top of all of our other salaries. So it's really 221 million is the number we need to stay under, which only gives us, I feel like at best, $40 million to spend.
And if you sign one top tier free agent, that's more than half of that. Gone.
Yeah, absolutely more than half. And then you'll have to just
build a bullpen.
Yeah, build a bullpen.
This is going to be tough.
It is, but this is the hitting episode, guys. We want to get into all of our hitters who were just atrocious. We had a lot of guys who had down years. Heim, down year. Lowe, down year. Garcia,
down year.
Simeon had one of his worst years.
Offensively. Defensively, he was still there. The glove was holding up.
Always available.
Yes. Yeah. They had to force him to take the days off.
Yeah, the 2 days, maybe two and a half. I think he DH'd one of his off days. And then Tavares and Duran, they didn't do. I mean, our bright spots of this year for hitting wise are clearly Corey Seager. It wasn't a Corey Seager type year.
Still very productive. Yeah,
very productive.
Definitely not the 40 doubles he hit last year. No. Definitely didn't get to his 30 home run mark like we were hoping because of the injury at the end. And then obviously Wyatt Langford was a major bright spot offensively.
Yeah, and I would say I've heard some people say it was a down year, and I feel like his expectations were just so high.
He had that great spring training too.
Yeah.
It's post the 3-week injury he had early on, he came back just like raking and had some honestly like clutch big moments that you're like, if I'm in a postseason situation and I have to have him at bat, I'm feeling confident.
And then we can't forget about Josh Smith, our silver slugging Josh Smith.
The bright spot
also
of the season.
did have a fantastic offensive year for us.
So that's my thing. When you're dealing with a guy like Smith winning your silver slugger as a utility infielder, and you got an athlete like Langford who's just sneaking into your lineup as a DH, it's really should be addition by subtraction for this team offensively. They really have got to focus on getting these guys their at-bats and their everyday playing. Because
a lot of these guys, they had monster years in 2023. Some of these guys may have even had their best years in 2023.
Will likely be the case.
Yeah. So of the, of that little grouping, those 6 guys here, we probably don't have to dwell too much on Carter or Young. They had injuries. Man, God, the one who kills me the most is Young because dude, he
came out slugging.
My God.
Those first 4 games, he looked great.
He really did. But specifically, Heim, Lowe, Garcia, Simeon, Tavares, Duran, where, your bounce back potential, where are you guys on your confidence level? And, if we're going to spend in free agency, does one of these positions need a bolstered bat here?
I don't know if it's due to necessity or just because the few times in the last couple of years that I've been able to catch some games live, he's really, really looked great. But I still got a lot of faith in Jonah Heim. I really think that he can be your everyday catcher, and that can be a successful part of your offense.
He certainly proved it in 2023, even though Mitch Garver was here and took some catching duties. He was primarily a DH while he was here.
Hedgy as well, right?
Yeah.
And by the end of the season, it was 27 games in a row when it was all said and done for Jonah Heim behind the dish.
Yeah.
And then as well with amongst those players listed, Jonah Heim is the one that is allowed to take a step back offensively because of the position he plays, and he is so good defensively behind the dish that it's like if one of them gets the pass for not having to be the guy, it's him. So it's understandable if he doesn't have the bounce back year, but it's still primed for one, I think.
I'm pretty confident that he will have his bounce back year. We are going to need someone back there to help catch when he needs days off, because right now we don't have a backup catcher that is guaranteed an offensive position. We'll be spending some money on.
I love Sam Huff, but the defense is just
not going to happen. If Sam Huff, if it was going to happen, we would have saw a lot more Sam Huff last year, and we didn't.
So what's our temperature on bringing back Kelly? Is it even financially feasible if we're offering Eovaldi what we're offering him?
Absolutely, it is. Carson Kelly is not going to draw a huge contract. I think. Let me see here.
I know his WAR is just barely negative, and I guess you can't ask for anything more than your average everyday major leaguer from your backup catcher.
So I've got Carson Kelly's value at under league minimum.
Wow.
What did we pay Carson Kelly last year? It certainly was not much. It was a $1.1 million deal last year. I think we can get him for that.
Him or a comparable catcher in that value range seems fine.
Another dude I'm really not worried about is Nate Lowe. For more ways than one, we've seen how he can produce the way that he hits left-handed batters as a left-handed bat. He's certainly a trade candidate, but I'll tell you what, of all the other first basemen out there doing the things that he's doing, the money that we're paying him is certainly worth it because we're not getting anyone better at the money we're paying him now.
I don't know if he's someone I want to lock up in a long-term role, but as far as trying to immediately improve the first base position, we're fine enough where we're at now. He's consistent and solid enough of an offensive player, and the defense has gotten significantly better over the past few years.
Gold glove. He's got a gold glove, so you can't argue with that.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about Lowe. He could convince me to lock him up long term, depending on his year this year. This is the contract year.
You may not really have any options the way this is looking financially. It's just like you don't really have the finances to go get anyone better.
We're not signing Pete Alonso,
Yeah.
Don't not re-sign the guy just on wishful thinking. He's got to have a viable option there. This team needs to be in contention for the next 5 or 6 years, and you can't do that without a reliable first baseman. So even if you overpay him, it's kind of worth it there.
Hi, co-host Robbie Belusic here to talk to you about technological hubris. You see, even though you spend decades operating various audio-visual gadgetries, absolutely nothing will prevent you from simply forgetting to press the old record button now and again. So this is an attempt to salvage what was, I can assure you, a robust and lively discussion, replete with colorful adjectives, subjects, predicates, verbs, all that good stuff, on the Rangers' offensive bounce-back chances. Don't worry, I'm just hitting you with the highlights so you can get back to your regularly scheduled programming, which is the program that you're listening to within the program that you're listening, however it works. Anyway, Adolis Garcia, big ouch, with his 0.4 WAR down from 4.2 the previous season. Collectively, we want to feel good about a return to offensive dominance for our ALCS hero and Astros' rightful and biological father figure. But we might need to temper expectations and realize that Bombi's 2023 season might have been his best season. He might be more of a 25 home run guy instead of a 35 home run guy who's batting north of 230 but never more than 250. So however 2025 shakes out, we all agreed that Adolis Garcia is one of our top trade candidates who could be moved as early as this upcoming season. One thing's for certain, you're not going to lock him up long term because of his age, so we don't anticipate him being a Ranger down that long road. But then, on the other hand, we love you. Please don't leave. Come be the all-time DH and hit 37 bombs and drive in 107 runs again. Next, we kind of glossed over Tavares and Duran, really just noting their trade value and potential to move them in 2025, obviously based on some uptick in their performance, which leads us to Marcus Semien. And of all of the players to have a bounce-back year, Semien is the one we agreed we have the most confidence in. There's really no need to rattle off stats. The dude's an OG baller and the captain of this team. There's no reason to believe he won't return to his Superman-like form. Also, Tony was trying to trade him in our discussion. It was not totally without merit, and he had some really good points, but Christopher and I ultimately told him, nanny boo-boo, stick your head in doo-doo. We wrapped up the sesh claiming that if the Rangers had the money to spend on an offensive piece, it would be at DH. Last season was the polar opposite of how we handled the DH spot in our World Series year. It was primarily owned by two players, Garver and Grossman, with 57 and 40 games played at the position respectively. Whereas in 2024, it was a revolving door of Grossman, Jankowski, Langford, and Garcia, with a smattering of guys who had anywhere from 10 to 13 games at DH, like Heim, Josh Smith, Duran, Justin Foscue, Seager, and really outside of Duran and Brad Miller in 2023, getting at least 20 games apiece at the DH spot. No one else on the team had more than 9 that year. So we need to return to the formula where we are actually designating designated hitters instead of the Uber platoon that we rolled out last season. And that's really about it. You're all caught up. Back to the show. On our DH conversation. Like I said, the only money for me, I think that we're going to spend, if we're going to spend it offensively, is on a DH. And here's who's available. JD Martinez at $12 million. That's probably the most we could spend.
Is he 40 now?
And that's one of those
37.
that gets put on the table, it feels, if you don't get Eovaldi. Spending that much on a DH.
Pivoting feels like consolation prizes there.
I feel like we got to spend at least $10 million on the bullpen.
I agree. Another guy on this list that is really tantalizing is Jock Peterson for about the same, about 12.5. He might even make a little bit more than that.
That is interesting.
But yeah, I agree with you there. If we are going to spend this type of money, the 10 million plus, it's because we didn't get Eovaldi.
Yeah.
And I don't want that.
I don't want that.
I want him.
him.
Some other cheaper guys who we could get. Andrew McCutchen is on this list.
That'd be fun.
I want to see him retire a Pirate, though.
I mean, the pickings are slim as far as like everyday DHs. Gary Sanchez is on this list. There's Randall Grichuk is on this list as well.
He would be cheap. Gary Sanchez is interesting. No, you don't want to try.
It seems like everywhere he goes, the fan base suffers.
Yeah.
Nobody wants him around.
So he was hanging out there in Minnesota, right? Because we traded IKF to Minnesota, and then I think they traded him to New York.
Yeah.
Sanchez was a part of that.
Randall Grichuk had himself a decent year last year.
Okay.
Yeah, he sure did.
Well, he played for the Cardinals for a minute, right?
He was with Cardinals. Yeah, that's where he started. He played for Arizona last year. Yeah, had himself a 140 OPS plus.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, batted .291, on base 348, slugged 528. His OPS was 875.
Randall, I apologize. I was not familiar with your game.
A surprise.
He might have played himself out of our price range. How old is he?
He is 32.
Ooh, so he's probably looking for a 3 to 4 year deal, I bet. Ooh.
That'd be a good option.
That's
better option than I was anticipating.
Say he wants a 3 or 4 year deal. We're trying to reset this luxury tax thing. So it would be playing with fire a little bit, but maybe you could backload this deal as far as an AAV goes, so he's a little cheaper this year to help us reset that payroll, and then it could be offset by having it be reset to have the higher value in years 2, 3, and 4.
Joey Gallo. You could be a nice little reunion. Put some butts in seats. I don't know if I'm paying Joey Gallo the money that, let's see, what Spot Track has him valued at.
New York,
he'd almost have to
New York
be paying
destroyed that man.
I think it's around $5 million.
Some of the saddest baseball quotes I've ever read come from that time in New York for him.
I'd pay him 2.
He didn't want to go out in public because he would get verbally assaulted on the streets. That poor man.
That's not a good place to suck.
No. Especially when you're traded for to be good.
Part of we're so hamstrung, I feel like, with the things Ray Davis has come out and said and the things that CY has come out and said about the spending and where we're going to count on the talent for next year. I don't see us spending as much as I would love to go get Jock Peterson or JD Martinez. We ain't got the bucks. We really need the pitching. We just need the pitching because there's just too many guys that are gone. At least $10 million has got to be spent on this bullpen.
Yeah, the bullpen is in shambles.
We don't. When we need someone to come close it down in the ninth, nobody's going to be be to do it.
If you're talking about $10 million, you said offering Eovaldi 30. That's it. That's all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That leaves nothing for a bat.
I think that is going to end up being what we end up doing in this. And I'm fine with it.
We spend nothing offensively, and we go get Eovaldi, and then we rebuild the bullpen decently. I have enough faith for us as a pitching team going forward, if that's the case. Because your rotation, is DeGrom, Eovaldi, Kumar Rocker, Jack Leiter, John Gray, Tyler Mahle. Like, you've got names at this point.
CY seems to think that we have got everybody that we need offensively. He had said that he felt that much of the anticipated improvement in 2025 is going to come internally. So guys that we already got, it doesn't sound like we're going to go.
CY's betting on the bounce back years.
Yeah. And hey, you should. Yeah, it's a great bet. It's a bet I will gladly take.
As safe as the bet was for everybody to have a fallback year this year, the bounce back year is a safe bet for next year.
Yeah, we've got a roadmap. We're just kind of waiting for these chips to fall a little bit, guys, because I do think we're going to bring back Yates. I do think we're going to bring back Eovaldi, and I think the rest of that money is going to be spent on guys to help them pitch. And I'm fine. Are y'all fine with not spending any money on hitters this offseason?
Especially considering the options that are out there, I'm fine. And my hot take's always been that I think it's next season is when Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a free agent. I'd love to see that man in Arlington. So if we don't spend this season, we let Nate Lowe walk. We're looking at Vladdy Jr. next year. I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm on board with resetting this. Like, I understand the logic. It makes sense. can open your window back up a little bit, help you be flexible with spending a few years from now to keep it open. If we're keeping Seager and Semien, that's your window. Is basically through the end of Semien's contract. The next 4 seasons are when they're looking to add another ring, 2, 3, maybe, So now is the time to do it. I don't think anybody has the appetite for any kind of a mini rebuild. So this is your opportunity to have the closest thing to a mini rebuild is to just get back under this tax threshold and reset it.
In case I haven't stood on business enough during this thing, not only do I not advocate for them signing any hitters, I would advocate for them to eliminate some of the hitters on the roster currently.
Christopher, I know you have a fun little segment for us, one that is going to be recurring, right?
Yeah, we've had a lot of players that played for the Texas Rangers over the years, and I'd like to remind you of a few of them. There's been plenty of notable names and plenty of nobodies. There'd be some names we throw out there sometimes, and you're like, I don't even think that's a real guy. I think you made him up on the spot. And then there will be people like today's guy. Figured since we had a discussion about DH, we can go back and look at a notable DH that we had for one season. I've already actually mentioned his son here within the past few minutes. That is right. We are talking about Daddy Vladdy himself, Vladimir Guerrero Sr.
Oh, yeah.
He was a member of the Texas Rangers for 1 year. That was the 2010 season.
A World Series, yeah.
We won the pennant. I got a lot of really strong sports hate growing up for Vladimir Guerrero Sr. I did not like the man. I didn't like him at all. In fact, if you asked me in 2009 who my least favorite baseball player was, I would not have skipped a beat of like, oh, this is a question? No, it's the guy in Anaheim who just, hits balls that bounce in front of the plate.
Coined the phrase Ranger Killer.
Yes, yeah, for real. Like, that is the Ranger Killer of my youth is Vladimir Guerrero. But then that all changed. He came here in the summer of 2010. I guess it was the spring, technically. He was here the whole year. Let's just go over the stat line real quick. So he played in 152 games. He got 643 plate appearances.
Iron Man. Yes. Coming off 100.
How old was he? 35 this year. And that's an old 35. He came into the league at age 21.
Oh, yeah.
The Expos?
That is correct, yes. He actually spent the majority of his years with the Expos, though is in the Hall of Fame, rightfully so, as a Los Angeles Angel. He had 593 at-bats. He had scored 83 runs, totaled 178 hits, and then he had 27 doubles in his old age.
Dang.
He somehow managed to secure a triple that year.
Oh, yeah, I see that triple.
29 home runs and 115 RBIs out of that DH spot for us. Just doing exactly what we signed him to do that season.
I remember many of those home runs fondly.
He hit an even 300. The man hit 300 at age 35. It's just great. On-base percentage of 345 and a slugging of 496 for an OPS of 841. An OPS plus of 119. While that may not blow your socks off, it is very good for a man of that age in that position.
Yeah.
Doing exactly what we needed him to do.
He seems like a guy that was brought in to protect Hambone, and it ended up working the other way, You
got to remember what Hambone hit 359 this year and won the MVP. And does he do that without Daddy Vladdy? I don't know.
These pitchers are exhausting themselves trying to get Hambone out, and then Vlad's just taking them deep.
He finished 11th in the MVP voting as a DH that year. Had some less stellar memories in the postseason as far as him playing defense in San Francisco, but
not a series.
We don't get there without him.
Yeah,
we don't get there without him.
Not a series we were gonna win.
No, yeah, we were happy to be there.
Yeah, it was. Thank you guys so much. It was so kind of you to invite us to this game.
So this is the World
Series.
This
is the World Series. Oh, look at this.
Also an All-Star that year and a Silver Slugger.
Oh wow, very nice. He did play one more year for the Baltimore Orioles, but if you want to say his real and true swan song was with us, 100% deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and I'm glad he is.
Any other final thoughts?
He always had great hair.
He always had great hair.
He always had really good hairstyles. Whether it be the short dreads or the long dreads, like, man, always just was fresh, man.
He walked like a grandma. It was like,
did he have like a bow-legged thing going on?
It was like there was no hip motion.
Yeah, and
it was just like,
especially there at the end, man.
No hip motion until he swung the bat, and then it was all hip motion.
Next week, we're going to tackle the thing that we should have tackled this week. That's pitching free agency, baby. This is all of the stuff that we need to spend money on. There are a ton of guys out there, and we have a ton of spots to fill. Mm-hmm. We'll also do some kind of fun episode. I've got a food one I'm working on. We've got uniform stuff that we're talking about. As always, you can follow us on our socials. They are all at Ranger Zone Pod. That is at Ranger Zone Pod. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
And that's the way the baseball goes.